What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Now this video is going to be all about why you should watch your spending and not be penny wise but pound foolish. Now, being penny wise but pound foolish basically means that you're very careful when it comes to spending small amounts of money, but you fail to see the bigger picture when it comes to spending on more extravagant, more expensive items like a new house or a new car. Now, creating a series of steps that's going to get you where you want to go is really important if you're ever going to achieve financial independence or financial freedom, because without a plan, you've got no chance. These videos take me hours every day to prepare, film, and edit, so I'd really appreciate if you could smash that like button and hit subscribe as well to help me continue to make more videos on a weekly basis. Now, you can't build wealth if you're penny wise and pound foolish. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can stay focused on the bigger picture to build that wealth and to work towards financial independence. So for example, your car's out of fuel. Is it then worth your time researching which petrol station sells the cheapest fuel to then drive further to that petrol station to go and get it? These are the sort of examples that I'm going to be discussing in this video. And one dumb personal example that I can think of personally is that when I was living in London, Morrison's, which is a UK supermarket by the way, had a sale on Ben & Jerry's and they were selling it for £2.50 or something like that instead of £4 or whatever it was at full price at the time. And I thought that that was a great deal, except the problem is Morrison's wasn't very close to where I lived. It was a 1.5 hour round trip on the London Underground. It cost me £10 because two of us went, and by the time that we got back we'd actually spent more on the ice cream and it had melted than if we'd just gone down the road and bought it at full price at Tesco. As I said, super dumb, but I'm sure that we're all guilty of doing these sort of things, right? Okay, and before we jump into the meaty part of this video, the main point is, it's great to save money wherever you can, but don't lose track of the bigger picture and just focus on the small amounts of money that you're spending. So these are the 6 steps that you can take to make sure that you're focused on that bigger picture and you're working towards financial independence. So step 1 is to consider your big purchases wisely. When it comes to your big ticket purchases like buying a house, a car, or even a wedding, things like that, you should spend a proportionate amount of time considering those purchases. Ironically, what actually happens is that when we come to these big purchases, we often off the cuff decide what we want or we decide on things. But when it comes to actually small purchases, things like maybe buying a new phone or a laptop, not necessarily small, but relatively small compared to the big ones, we spend more time on this. And these are the things that actually end up really stretching our budget. The problem is though, spending too much on these big ticket items and not thinking about it enough can make you lose out a lot in the long run because of a thing called opportunity cost. For example, if you've maxed out on your mortgage and other than your other necessities and a few other things, you're spending the rest of your money after tax, the rest of your income after tax on that mortgage, say £500 more than you needed to buy a house that would do the same job, that's £500 a month that you could have been saving and investing. All right, so a few things that we can do when it comes to these big ticket purchases to help us out in the long run is, for example, instead of buying the most expensive house, buy a house that meets your needs, it does the job, it does everything you need it to do, but it's just not quite as expensive, it's not quite as fancy. And this just means that you're gonna have more money left over every month to invest. And instead of buying an expensive car that maybe has a really fancy paint job and it has loads of state-of-the-art features inside, what you wanna do is think about it in this way, in that buying a car is buying a depreciating asset. Whereas if you were to spend less on the car and get a cheaper one, you can invest the rest of the money in an appreciating asset like stocks or any other sort of investment, maybe in your own business. And instead of spending loads on a lavish wedding and honeymoon, consider one that will be more meaningful to your wallet and one that won't cause you stress in the early years of your marriage because you're in debt. All right, and step 2 is to identify what habits you have that limit your big picture thinking ability, or in other words, taking a break from your bad habits. Now, this can be as simple as not worrying too much about the small stuff, such as going to bed and having a sleepless night thinking about what you're going to wear the next day. As well, to stop seeking perfection is a great way to see the bigger picture and not get lost in all the details. There have been so many times where I've been completely consumed with wanting to get something absolutely right, and so much so that it completely takes over your day, and it definitely doesn't help you build wealth. And scheduling some time just to think, or to maybe think from a different perspective, can also help us see the bigger picture and set us on a straighter path towards financial independence. So if you find yourself suffering from maybe decision fatigue or multitasking too much, just take a step back, think about the bigger picture, and then start prioritizing your tasks. Okay, next up is to avoid credit card debt like the plague. And you must have heard people saying that it's so much easier to spend on plastic, to spend on a credit card because you're not handing over physical cash. And while that's not something that I can personally relate to, so many people must say it for a reason, right? All right, so on the extreme end of the spectrum, you might want to consider avoiding credit cards altogether. However, I wouldn't recommend that, and I think that'd be a silly move because credit cards do have some huge advantages in that they help you build up a good credit score, and if you're earning points, you can use them to redeem flights and things like that. So instead of not having a credit card, the key is to have one, but make it work for you, and treat it like a debit card in that only spend what you can afford, only spend money on your credit card that you have in your bank so that at the end of every single month, you can pay it off in full. Now, consumer debt is a serious burden on people's happiness, and there have been studies that have shown that the more consumer debt people have, the more unhappy they are. However, there is a healthy type of debt as well, things such as mortgages and business loans, and these don't correlate, or these don't necessarily cause unhappiness like consumer debt does. Of course, this doesn't mean that it's okay to max out and get the largest mortgage that you can afford, because remember what we said in step 1. Now, quickly, and before moving on to the next step, if you are struggling with any kind of consumer debt, credit card debt, or anything like that, consider making a budget. I can't emphasize enough the importance of having a budget and sticking to it. It doesn't matter how much you're earning. Now, COVID-19 has actually seen an increase in credit card spending worldwide, and actually it's helping a lot of people out. It's come to a lot of people's rescue, and it can be a lifesaver. But what's really important is that when this crisis passes, we don't accept that that's our new normal. Now, step 4 is to find a way to increase your earnings. There are only 2 ways that you can live within your means. One is to spend less, to spend as little as possible. And number 2 is to increase your earnings. And since you're watching personal finance videos on YouTube, you're probably already conscious about your spending, and you're probably already saving as much as you can. So let's talk about increasing our earnings. Now, focusing on earning more money can be just as important as spending less. In fact, it can be even more important, and it can be even more influential in your life. I know it sounds like an overwhelming task, especially if you're already working full time, but it's one that's worth considering, and it's one that's worth the effort if you're willing to put it in. Okay, so here's a few ways to try and increase your earnings. Now, if you're already working, focus on trying to get a pay rise at your job. If you don't ask, you don't get, right? And that company is not there to look out for you. They're not just going to hand you out more money every year or every however often. You've got to ask for it. And one example is that when I was working as a project manager in London for a company that built museums, and when I was given my first project as the lead project manager, I was told that, I was given a bonus scheme that if I made 10, 15, 20% profit on that job, I would get X amount of money for each of those milestones. Except the thing is, I thought that I could make more than 20% on that job. I thought I could make more around 30%. So I asked for a 25% and a 30% structure to that bonus scheme as well. They rejected it. They didn't want to give me that. So then I went back to them and I said, well, what incentive have I got to earn more money for the company or to earn more money on this project? At which time they got a little bit pissed off with me, but they did give me that increase. They gave me the 25 and the 30% bonus structure. And in the end, we ended up making 38% profit on the job. So I actually should have asked for more. Another way to increase your earnings if you're already working is to learn a new skill on the side and become more qualified, and then obviously worth more money to that company. And there are other things that you can consider as well, such as starting a side hustle or maybe even changing career paths. And if you are considering starting a side hustle, I have a video all about the side hustles that I'm currently practicing, and I'll link that up here somewhere. I'll put a link down in the description. You can go check that out. Importantly as well, and just before we move on to the next step, your efforts to earn more money should never result in spending more money, only investing and saving more. All right, step 5 then, to helping you see the bigger picture, is being careful about who you spend your time with, who you surround yourself with. Now, there's this saying that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend most of your time with, and one bad apple can definitely spoil the whole group. So just be careful and be wise about who you decide to spend time with. So if you surround yourself with friends who live in the moment, buy expensive things, and like to treat themselves, you're going to lean towards that mentality as well. It's just human nature. On the flip side, if you spend more time with people who are savvy about money, talk about investing, and talk about business ideas, that's going to rub off on you as well, and their values will intertwine with yours. And actually, according to a Harvard research paper, the people that you spend your time with determine as much as 95% of the success or failure of your life. Now, that is huge. Now, you might dismiss this, but the influence that these people can have on your life, your friends, your family, and the rest of your community can make a huge difference to your life choices and the rest of your life. So build your squad very carefully. And I know it sounds harsh, but it's really important to reduce or even eliminate, block out people in your life who influence you in a negative way. Okay, so we've talked about the psychological ways that you can build yourself up to seeing the bigger picture and building your wealth. So here are some tangible investment objectives that you can apply. So number 1, define your investment goals. For example, are you looking to build a dividend portfolio that covers your monthly bills, or even a dividend portfolio that will allow you to quit your job maybe? And number 2, you're going to want to create an investment plan to achieve this. Now, I invest as much as I can afford to, and one way that I do that is by being committed to living well below my means. I'm okay with delayed gratification. If I need to sacrifice certain things now in order to build wealth into the future, I'm all right with that because I'm working towards something. And the larger your investment portfolio is, the closer you're going to be to achieving financial independence. Okay, so that's it for today's video, guys. I hope that you were able to take something away and you enjoyed the video. Please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next week.